Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com. New England gets more at 24.
What were you trying to do against Tyrese there on those late possessions defensively?
You said, what was I trying to do? Stop him from scoring, for sure. Well, the assignment was to just, like I knew the scouting report, so it was just to make him do things that he's not comfortable with doing and make him take shots that we're comfortable with him taking.
How much do you feel like your growth on the defensive end is about understanding player tendencies, like in this case, someone like Maxey, compared to just the effort that you've been playing with?
I think it's definitely a huge combination of both. But yeah, I think a big part of it is, knowing their tendencies, because like the way that we play is, if you can make him take a shot that we want him to take, then, and if he makes it, then it's like, all right, kudos to him, But just trying to force him into uncomfortable situations, so he has to play a different style of basketball than he's used to.
Jordan, you've been in the locker room a lot of times after these tough losses in the playoffs, crunch time games during the season. Being on the court now and having played like 30 minutes in this game, does it feel any different being like now sitting here talking to us, all of that, just processing that loss?
Yeah, it definitely. I think it feels maybe a little different. It still hurts equally as much, whether you're playing or not. You never want to have your guys, lose. But there's definitely an added sense of like, dang, all right, now what could I have done better to, get over that hump? These close games. How can I affect it? Those extra 2 points, do I get another stop, one possession, and then hopefully that changes. But I definitely start thinking about it that way rather than just, feeling for the guys.
Last question. That being said, how gratifying is this stretch for you? I know with the loss, but to see all of your hard work kind of come together and Joe trusting in you in these crunch time moments, starting you in the second half.
I think that it's huge. I think it says a lot for the trust that the organization has in me. Obviously, Joe. And then also the trust that, the guys have in me as well by, getting me involved, trusting that, all right, if he's, guarding the best player, that we want him on there and he's going to get a stop. We just have to be ready for what's after that. And so it's definitely, it builds confidence, I feel like, with every possession, every play, every time out. It's like they're talking to me, I'm talking to them, and we're just building more and more chemistry. And I think that in the long run, it's going to be successful that way.
What's up, everybody?
What's up?
What is up, Kayla?
What is up? You want to start? You want me to start?
I'm gonna vent first.
Vent.
Well, I'm gonna mini vent, and then I'm just gonna give you the floor, and then I'm gonna probably spend the rest of the time venting. But Celtics fall 102-100 to the Philadelphia 76ers. The third game with this stupid opponent in the last 21 days. I am so sick of the Sixers. That was supposed to be a lightning round topic, but I'm just gonna get it out of the way now.
Get it out.
I am so tired of that whole team.
Oh, me too.
Thank goodness we don't see them until March. The games have been entertaining, but not always in the best possible way for a Celtics team that, for the second time in 21 days, kind of crumbled at the finish line. And from a missed box out to a missed opportunity on the final sequence, and they fall because they, and I always like to preface, there's 20 plays over the course of a game that we could point to, but it's just those ones at the finish line are particularly painful. But before I rant, before I get even more worked up,
oh, I know where this is
you
going.
want to bring some positivity to this podcast.
You want me to throw out
I want to start with the positive stuff because I share in your positivity of this player. So what is your headline for
My
tonight?
headline. Drum roll, please. The Walshing machine activated. The Walshing machine activated. Jordan Walsh.
I don't know if that nickname's going to catch on.
I'm trying to make it. I almost like deepen my voice to make it sound more like. No. Yeah, he has been in the past 2 games incredible.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing with a different kind of confidence defensively. That's translating offensively. For him to pick up Tyrese Maxey, arguably the best guard in the one of the best guards.
One of the best guys in the league. If we were going to vote for all-stars right now, he would be an Eastern Conference.
He's unbelievable.
All-star. Yeah.
The points that he's scoring on a night-to-night basis, for Jordan Walsh to have the confidence to go up against Maxey in crunch minutes and crunch seconds of that game and to lock him down defensively, and then to even translate that offensively. There was one possession towards the end. He locks Maxey down. Maxey takes it, misses it. Because of great defense because of Jordan. And then it gets eventually into a transition. I forget who shoots it and misses it, but then Derek White drills a 3. Nice. And it's like those plays it sparks the offense, and he did it numerous times. I love the confidence that he's playing with. I love that Joe is trusting in him more. And I think that Jordan is the kind of guy that needs that confidence coming from the coach. He doesn't need to be like catered to or coddled or, he's not like soft or anything. He needs that confidence from the coach a little bit, and I think he's starting to get that, and now it's impacting his game.
Right before the whatever the game before that Orlando series was, Utah, I don't remember. He figured it out.
Yeah.
No, the Wizards game. So the Wizards game was
right.
He got thrown in there, and he was like, I'm just going to go rebound my butt off and see what happens. And he got 7 rebounds that night and was kind of everywhere. And even though he's kind of running around a little bit on the defensive end, you could see he was just trying to make good things happen. And that gave Joe the confidence to put him out there more against Orlando, and he fully took advantage of that situation. And then tonight, as you noted, just really grasping it, so much so that he goes into the starting lineup to start the third quarter. And really, from the fourth quarter of that Orlando game straight through tonight, he has played as much as anybody, and it's really remarkable. The NBA is giving us a small glimpse of the data the night before. Usually you have to wait till the morning. The problem is it can change a little bit, so I always want to caution these numbers or don't take these as anything until I write a story tomorrow. But so when Walsh was matched up with Maxey, they had him at 2 points, 1 of 8 shooting, and 0 for 1 beyond the 3-point arc. 1 for 8. To do that against Maxey is ridiculous.
Right.
VJ Edgecombe, he guarded 0 points, 0 of 2 on shots where Walsh was the primary defender. So 1 of 10 when those two of the best guards in the Eastern Conference so far this season. And so we'll see. There's some that can update with fouls and when they need crazy cameras in the sky. But that's about as good as we've seen the Celtics defend either of those players. And he gave them a chance to win late in the game because of his defense.
And you know what I love about not just Walsh, but this kind of bench unit, including Ugo and Garza. And I feel like I saw it specifically in Orlando, probably because I was physically there. Right. But Walsh told me in that post-game interview, he's like, I'm with Garza. Luke and I are in the gym every single day. They take pride in being that bench unit that's just going to be that spark. And they're taking pride in their role. But it's funny because they're actually one of the most talked about guys right now who are impacting these games. Yeah. And you want to see him come out on top.
Even Garza had great minutes tonight, right?
And they're owning it. They're owning their space. They're owning their minutes. And up until Ugo got hurt, he had a great defensive play, and he got that steal, went full
Ironically,
court.
He gets the steal and twists his ankle because he steps on the guy's foot.
I didn't even see it at first. I was I thought he just freaked out. And I was like, Ugo, what happened? And then I see that he steps on the guy's foot. So hopefully, it's not too bad. He's okay.
He was listed as available by the end of the game.
Which is a good
that's
sign.
an encouraging sign.
But the hustle plays, the defensive stuff, I feel like I don't want to call them a bench unit, but maybe these are the new stay ready guys. They're just staying ready and impacting it on a defensive end. And I think that's huge. It's a momentum shifter, and Jordan's just balling right now. I love the way this guy's playing.
The one thing I keep coming back to is I just worried about the consistency, right? You can have one good game. Can you have 2 good games? Can you have 3 good games? Can you be, even on nights that, for whatever reason, if your defense isn't on the right level or if your shot isn't falling, can you still find a way to impact the game positively? And Jordan, for 4 straight games now, has been one of the biggest positives, has been that consistent player who's only going to get better with the more reps he gets out there. And so last season, coming out of training camp, felt like he was kind of maybe knocking on the door to getting some playing time, never quite harnessed it. This feels like the first chance here, and I do love, like you said, listening to him in the Orlando media scrums, saying, I kind of find it from my life. Right. Third year, kind of has to show it, but we forget he's still 21. He's still he's so young.
He's also hilarious. Yeah. If you ask this guy, I think it was Noah Dalzell who asked him, I forget which game it was. It wasn't Orlando, but it was some other game. And she was like, do you know, it was the game where he had all those rebounds that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. And she goes, do you know what you're just flying around out there? Do you know what you're doing? He goes, no, I'm just sometimes I'm confused, but I'm just playing hard. It's so funny. And he started laughing at himself. And then you hear in this post-game interview, he talks about how He's like, I studied the film. I'm watching. So I feel like now he's starting to own it a little bit more, not just flying around, but being like, no, Maxey, I can lock you up. Let's go.
I think the first question was something like, what were you trying to do against Maxey out there? And he said, stop him from scoring?
He's so like simple.
It's just deadpan. I like it. He's kind of growing into, he's comfortable now in his role, in his ability to help this team. And maybe, if as much as these losses drive me nuts, and we'll get to that in a second, if you take a step back, if you look at the 10,000-foot view, nothing is more important probably this season than identifying guys that are going to be part of whatever your next championship contender is. And so if you can find something in Ugo, if you can find something in Jordan, if you can bottle something up with Garza where he can be, even in just small spurts off the bench, be a positive. If you can figure out how the pieces all could potentially mesh together down the road, it's super encouraging. And to get this sort of return this quickly from a guy like Walsh is super, super
Wow, we're really nice right now.
I know. And now here's my headline.
There we go. Oh, boy.
Why the hell do these losses hurt so much? Because when I came into the season, Kayla, I said, new year, tempered expectations. We know the story with the roster. I didn't know what you would get from the bench. Obviously Jason Tatum is injured. You've got guys that are gone. I don't want to sit here and everyone knows the story. I said what's going to be great about this year is the Celtics will have games where they're just like super competitive, and even if it doesn't tip their way, we'll be like, man, that was fun. And then there's nights like tonight where I'm just like throwing pens around the studio because I'm like, what are we doing?
Can I maybe throw an answer to that headline? Why do these losses hurt so much? My answer to that is because they're winnable.
Yes.
Almost every loss. Utah.
The only loss that they should
opener.
The only loss that felt legitimate is Houston, where Houston just came in and whacked you.
And even Peyton said that. Peyton's like, those are winnable games. So the losses hurt so much because it's frustrating because they're winnable and it's unnecessary for them to lose. I think back to the 76ers opener, Anthony Simons taking the ball out of bounds, and he can't find Jaylen Brown. They get it into Peyton Pritchard. He takes like a corner shot where he's guarded by two guys, and then fine. The Utah Jazz, don't even get me started on that, but fine. They shot the ball pretty terribly in the first half. 19% from the three, 20 whatever percent from the field. But it's the end of the game situations. Yep. It's the no box out by JB. Where the Sixers are able to get the puck back. Oubre, like he's able to get the puck back, and then on top of that, the execution down the stretch, what is the play? What is the game plan?
I love this because I thought I was gonna have to be the one who was just screaming.
No, I'm here. I'm with you. I'm venting on your headline. I'm stealing your game.
No, I love it.
Let me tossing the ball back to you.
Preach, because I feel the same way. You're absolutely right. Maybe I am just. I don't know why my expectations went up so quickly. I'm not expecting them to be championship level.
But they're all right.
But these guys, I think they're better than what we've seen.
I agree.
And I feel like, we've gotten way more production from the bench than I thought. And invariably it reverts back to, Derek White has just not been himself, except for the third quarter tonight. Jaylen at the end of games either hasn't gotten touches or just hasn't been put in a position to be sort of the guy in that moment. And that's taken away slightly from all the good that he's done. And the team as a whole has just had these maddening lapses, whether it's, as you mentioned, that Utah game, the Nemi misses the box out and Nurkic swoops in and gets the putback there. Keontae George has like one quarter where you're like, what's going on? Justin Edwards tonight.
Oh, my God.
Check the Google searches for Justin Edwards in Boston.
5 threes.
I mean,
dude was electric.
He had a 9-0 run by himself where it was like, what is happening right now? The ghost of Caleb Martin back in the building. It made no sense. And, credit to him. Always a good story when I'm sure the Sixers Talk podcast is having a fun time with, how good he was tonight. And so, but it just, you got to be able to get a better shot than Derek launching in that final possession. You got to run a better play. You got to try to get the ball in Jaylen's hands. Nemi did look like he was open. Like maybe if Derek doesn't lose control, if Drummond doesn't swat it, maybe they find Nemi up, on a drop off and get to overtime or whatever the case may be. But it's I keep sitting here thinking it's okay, like find the positives. I'm glad we spend most of this podcast talking about Jordan Walsh and how good he's been, but I can't sit here at 5-7 and say like that we did a poll question in pregame about have they met expectations or fall short of expectations, and Eddie said like it feels like they kind of met expectations, and that's fair. If you were thinking they were going to struggle, this has been it's been realized, but for me it's just been because the games have been winnable. It's a little bit maddening. Having a vehicle you can rely on, that's important. That's why you can rely on 24 Auto Group. They will treat you like family. And that's because they are family owned and operated. They're honest, easy to work with, and they just get it. Whether you're looking for something sporty, something luxurious, or just a solid everyday ride, 24 Auto Group always comes through. With 9 brands and 11 locations across New England, there's something for everyone. And here's the best part. They've got the knack to save you more on a new or pre-owned vehicle, and the knack to pay you more for your trade, up to $2,400 over book value. You can even drive home with just $24 down. So if you want the best deal without the runaround, go see my guys at 24 Auto Group, because you always get more at 24. Online at 24autogroup.com.
I think that this is a pleasant surprise of a team, and you're right. Like these losses hurt so much, or why do they hurt so much? Because they're winnable situations. Who do you think? Who would you maybe blame?
Whoa, we're doing blame
I know. But we've seen it's early in the season,
Sure.
but we've seen some of these end of the game scenarios where either Jalen doesn't get the foul call, and in that last second he was trying to turn or whatever he was going to do. Then you see against the 76ers, the out of bounds play in the opening night, and Anthony gets it into Peyton, and it's just like this hard corner, whatever shot. And now tonight. And do you look at Joe Mazzulla? Do you look
I think everyone has some culpability, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't pin it. There's no consistent theme to it, except that they haven't been good enough in those moments, and so some of that falls back on coaching. I think you can learn from it and understand, okay, this is a couple situations now where we just haven't been able to get the ball in the best players' hands. And, maybe if Derek's shooting better, you feel more confident trying to drop a play for him or whatever. And I absolutely think you should try to reward the guy who's put you in the best position during a game. So it doesn't always have to be Jalen, especially if he can be a decoy and all that attention. Mm-hmm. But they just haven't even gotten to a point where they can collapse a defense because Jalen just hasn't touched the ball enough in those spots. So it's on Joe to be better. It's on, I remember Scal saying Jalen's got to fight harder in that first game to get open and create space. And they just got, you have to run a better pick and roll than what we saw tonight. And don't get trapped on the corner. And don't give Drummond a chance to cheat up the floor and knock the ball out, even if you got some of your arm. And so for me, it just comes down to everybody. And if I'm being honest, I keep saying, a lot of their struggles can be traced to the fact that Derek White just hasn't been himself. Now, he had a great third quarter. It's encouraging. Can he bottle that up a little bit and be better, more consistent moving forward? And then he had a couple rough patches in that fourth quarter. Even the last shot, did he have to go right up with that? I don't know why with 2 seconds left he felt the need to push that right up. I think that comes back to these guys haven't always been in that spot, which is weird to say because Derek had that crazy putback in Miami and they've had big moments. It's just for whatever reason now when the spotlight's on them and there's no Tatum, it does feel like they just need to lock in a little bit more in those moments.
I would agree with that. And I also think even if Derek hasn't been shooting the ball the same way that he shot last year or he's in a slump shooting-wise, it still doesn't excuse the fact that they can't or he can't maybe set a good screen. Yeah. That has nothing to do with you knocking down a shot or not. That's just focusing and execution. And I'm not just calling out Derek. I'm calling out everybody. End of the game scenario, if you're supposed to set a screen for JB, there wasn't a lot of contact there, if contact at all. Set the screen. And then also, situational positional awareness. Why for the ball to be thrown to D. White, that's 6 feet beyond the arc, and when there's however many seconds left, you want to get more towards the hoop. Because if the play does break down, you can at least get a shot and maybe a putback versus I think near half court.
8.7 on the clock when they were inbounding. You just got to get Jalen with a head of steam and make something happen. But anyway, here's Joe Mazzulla trying to explain that final sequence.
Who are you looking for? last possession?
Just wanted to get create some indecision on a pick and roll downhill drive. We forced a switch. Still had 3 seconds, saw Nemi under the rim. Just didn't execute it.
You know what I thought was interesting there? He kind of speeds through it, but it sounds like Nemi was maybe an outlet option. Like if it's supposed to be a pick and roll and the defense tries to trap Jalen, move it to Derek. If Derek is able to get into the lane and you got Drummond cheating up, maybe it's supposed to be a drop off to Nemi. Easy two, you're into overtime. But ultimately, it got blown up because the screen was probably too close to the sideline, because Derek didn't get enough separation, because Drummond was up the floor enough to knock it away, and even if he hit his hand. So yeah, you just got to be better in those spots.
Execution. You're right. And I don't even want to overanalyze it. I think it's exactly what you just said. Whether they're too close to the sidelines and they just have to move a little bit farther out. It's just simple things of. It's not easy to execute those plays. I'm not going to sit here on this chair and be like, oh, figure it out, guys. You should ice this. But they should be able to get it to their best playmaker, which is Jaylen Brown. And if you can't get it to Jaylen Brown, cleanly and smoothly get it to the next guy, and that's Derek White. And so. For it to just break down the way it did, they all have to look at themselves and say, hey, this can't happen.
I need to look myself in the mirror.
We all have to look at ourselves in the mirror.
Let's finish on a little lightning round. The gold jerseys, yay or nay?
Love.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're so swaggy. I think they're really cool. I love that there's no hint of green. I love them pure gold. I think they're a fresh look. I actually wish they could wear them a little bit more often.
And we'll see.
I hope they do.
If you get successful in them, sometimes you
I was gonna say I don't like that they're 0-1.
I know.
It's not a good start.
You don't want to start off on the wrong foot, but I kind of agree. So
and you and Abby showed up today in
I
gold.
know we're in gold. I wish I could say that was planned. Totally just stumbled into it and said yes. I like that they didn't feel the need to put the green in, and Michael Hawley was pushing back, and he's like, teams called the green. And every uniform should have a little bit of green. And I get the point, but I don't think the Celtics have taken enough chances with their jerseys through the years. And I understand they're a very traditional franchise. I'm not saying you have to do Miami Vice City and all that, even though I love those uniforms. I just feel like they needed to step outside the comfort zone a little bit and at least roll the dice. If you're going to get one jersey a year to kind of have some fun with it, this was still true to the franchise.
They had red. They still had red signature there.
And the gold is championship. So it still ties back to the winningest franchise. Kudos to all the people over there. I know it's not an easy process to go through, and I know stepping outside the zone has got to be just convincing people that it's fun to fun.
Especially in this city too, where you're going to get scrutinized a little bit.
Look, half our studio's green. When we're doing the show, I'm like, oh my god, there's so much green. But you do have to. I'm glad that they moved out the comfort zone because even if the jerseys go away every year, that's this is one I could see bringing back down the road after a championship or whatever. It might be a fun one to dust out. Derek White in the third quarter was 5 of 6 shooting, 3 of 3 on the 3-point arc, 13 points. And I might have prematurely been screaming. I think he's busted out of his slump. Will Derek White bust out of his slump from the positives from this game, even though the fourth quarter wasn't great?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going to leave it at that.
Just a yes.
I'm just a
yes.
Yep.
Yes.
He needed that third quarter.
Boy, did he.
I saw hints of it in Orlando of just that was a get right for a D White
even
game.
The first Philly game, the third quarter of that first Philly game was one of his best quarters. So maybe Derek White's the third quarter guy.
Yep.
But I'm really hoping that because otherwise we have to take away his podcast.
I know you're you're done
no one
on
got
the
my joke, but
you're sold on the podcast. You're all right, I'm over
and
it.
I feel bad because it's a really good podcast and he does fun things.
But it's messing with his game a little bit.
But when he used to go on the JJ Redick podcast, he would go into a slump for 2 weeks afterward. And now
X-nay on the podcast.
I don't think it's taken away his focus. I'm just saying sometimes what is it? Correlation is not causation. I'm just saying it's something to keep an eye on. If you took a 2-week break from the podcast and
maybe we need a ratio, a stat ratio of wins and losses
compared to podcast episodes.
Yeah.
I'll look into it.
I
don't begrudge any podcast. I'm not trying to take away anyone's podcast.
No, you're just looking out for out for them.
Maybe you should try coming on here.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
All right. I like that.
Josh Minot, not a big role tonight. Only 8 minutes. Played a little bit in the first quarter. Did not see a whole lot of floor time after that.
And Mazzulla was asked about him, and he said that's between me and Josh. He was
Yeah.
asked, hey, where was Josh the second half? Did you have a conversation with him? Yada, yada, yada. He said that's between me and Josh.
-10 in 8 minutes, 16 seconds. 3 points, 3 fouls. 3 fouls in 8:16. So I think we know, one thing we've been critical of, Minot for all the good he's done and some of the bigger nights he's had, has been a foul magnet. And especially when you're getting him like right out of the gates or right when you're subbing back in, it's putting your team in a tough spot. And so I do think Joe's sending a little bit of a message of, okay, Jordan Walsh right now is playing hard. He's not fouling. He's defending their best players. Just need a little bit more consistency and a little bit more focus from Minot. So as much as I am president of the Lawnmower Fan Club, I get it. I'm not gonna begrudge Joe for trying to like hold these guys to a high standard.
And I actually like that, Joe, and I commend Joe for holding that standard and keeping that, because it sets a tone for everyone else, and it sets a tone for Minot to say, hey, like this is not going to continue. If that is the case, if we think it's exactly what it is based off of like the fouling and the numbers or lack thereof, I think Joe being the head coach and setting that tone and that precedent that's a wake up. It's like, hey, you got to look yourself in the mirror and come correct and come ready, because you're better than this is basically what he's saying.
Ugo only 5 minutes, but obviously left with the ankle. I thought he was pretty good. He was trying to do the Jordan Walsh, bring that defensive intensity. Made some stuff happen. Luka Garza, almost 20 minutes.
This bench right now.
8 rebounds. It felt like he, especially when things were off the rails early, he did about as much as he could. Anthony Simons got hot for a little bit. Sam, 1 of 5. He's just, I know he's going. He popped up on the injury report with I think wrist injury.
Yeah. It was
you can clear it's kind of bugging him. Missed the mid-range, which when he steps in, he just never misses. So bench overall has been really, really good. And they hopefully that's something that keeps going.
Garza may be the most passionate guy. If you watch him, like just when Jordan Walsh hit that 3.
Oh yeah.
First of all, Garza gets really red. I get concerned because I'm like, is he okay? I looked at Brian Olive. I was like, Brian, do we have to check his pulse? He gets red because he's just so pumped. But he's one of the most passionate dudes. I love this bench unit.
When he's going up and down that floor, I'm just like, don't step in his way.
He's like
looks like an offensive lineman.
He does.
Like he's just gonna plow someone into the wall. I just reaffirmed. I am so sick of Philly. I am
too.
I'm so glad we're not seeing them until March. Celtics are back in action. This podcast is going to get stale pretty quickly. Celtics play the Grizzlies tomorrow night. My only question for you, I think we know the situation. John Morant, who knows what we're going to get. They played tonight. They lost to the Knicks and gave up 133 points. It should be a chance for the Celtics to start feeling good about themselves. But if the Celtics win that game, do you know what their record will be?
What are they now?
5-7.
You're right. And if they'd won tonight, they would have been 500.
Right, but what will they be if they win tomorrow?
Are they 5-7? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to say the answer. They're 5-7 now. If they win tomorrow,
if they win tomorrow, they're 6-7. There we go. 6-7.
The kids. The kids love the 6-7.
My God. It's midnight.
It's midnight. That was the hardest setup to a joke.
I'm really bad. You can pass me the rock, and I will not dunk it.
I'll salvage it with this. The other night, Giles, we were wrapping up the podcast, and feeling good after that Orlando best win of the season, and we get to the next games, and evidently this is just where the podcast goes off the rails now, because I'm saying, the Celtics got a back-to-back on Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm like, oh wait, and the Patriots play on Thursday, right? And Giles is like punching away at his phone. He was trying to check for the result of the Sixers to see how they did that night. And then he kind of pops up and, he does the Giles where he says, yeah, and, the Patriots play on Thursday night. So it's going to be a crazy week. And I was like, yep.
After I'm weak. I can't even talk. Because here I am like, oh, they're 5-6, they're 5-6, 5-7, 5-7, 6-7. Okay, what? The kids look. Which one was worse, me or Giles?
I'm as a parent of a middle schooler and Instagram loving children as a whole, I believe that the 6-7 thing has sailed. Except when teams are about to score 67 points in college games.
That's true.
It's hilarious. But so I don't want to give it any juice, and I'm kind of ashamed of myself for doing it.
You
but
just
it was
did.
just
Yeah,
such,
you brought it
It was
back at
such
the back.
low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And then for you to fight it, I just thought you didn't want to go there. I thought you were trying to revolt.
No,
against.
no, I genuinely was not picking up what you were putting down, and I should because I like to think that I'm one with the kids.
Well, the Celtics are not picking up rebounds or putting them down when
Yep.
they need to. So hopefully they'll be better on Wednesday night against the Grizzlies. We'll be here after we do Celtics post up and plus and like 9 hours of programming. So go subscribe, go check us out on the YouTube page. Hopefully Kayla gets my jokes tomorrow.
Yeah,
we'll
I'm
catch you
gonna
next
try.
time on
0 for 2.
the Celtics Talk Podcast.